When I'm working with clients who are stressed out and exhausted, they generally have poor sleep, poor memory, poor concentration, and even brain fog. So one of the things I like to do is actually focus on protein intake. So let's dive into the importance of protein. And as we go along in this video, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite quick and easy high protein meals. You already know that protein is an essential building block for our brain as well as for our muscle. Not only is it important for muscle recovery, but it's also important for your cognition and your overall nervous system health. Healthy protein sources such as lean meats, fatty fish, and even eggs contain vital minerals as well as nutrients that really help to support our cognitive health and brain function. Those protein sources contain things like omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, as well as phosphatidylserine, which is a lipid that's really important for cognitive and nervous system health, as well as choline, which again, not only important for your muscle, but also important for your brain. Now, I mentioned things like fatty fish, so let's jump into the kitchen and I'll share with you my recipe for a quick and easy salmon meal. So for this recipe, we're going to quickly marinate the salmon. You can do this the night before, or you can do it the day of. Just let it sit for about 10-15 minutes in the marinade. So what you will need is your salmon. This is about 1 pound. And then for the marinade, we are going to use soy sauce, mirin, or you could use sake if you have it, a little bit of oyster sauce, as well as some dashi. Now, if you can't get something like dashi, don't worry, you can just use something like chicken stock, half of a lime, and some fresh garlic. So I'm gonna eyeball it as I make this recipe because I've done this quite a few times, but I will leave the actual recipe with measurements down in the description box below.
Now, let's assemble all the ingredients for our marinade. So I am first adding some soy sauce. I am just using a regular soy sauce, so not a dark soy sauce here. I am adding then in some mirin. Again, you can substitute with sake or rice vinegar. And then add just a little bit of oyster sauce. This is going to give us a nice umami flavor. Now you might want to add a little bit of water to thin out the marinade, but then go ahead and add your dashi to the mix.
I'm going to take some garlic and we're just going to take a few cloves and just smash them. No need to chop them for this recipe. Also going to take our lime, a bit of lime juice. And we do need just a little bit of sugar. So whisk all those ingredients together. And have a little taste. Very good. And go ahead and add that garlic to there. And when you're ready, go ahead and add your meat or your salmon fillet. These have the skin on, so I put them into the marinade skin side down. And maybe I needed a bigger bowl, but that's okay. So I'm gonna cover this in plastic wrap and let it sit in the fridge for about 15-20 minutes. Now, while that's marinating, let's talk a little bit more about why protein is so important. Protein can help you maintain a healthy weight. It can also help you feel fuller longer, so then you're less likely to overeat. Of course, protein also helps with maintaining muscle mass as well as growing and adding more muscle mass, which is really important as we continue to age, and also really important for our metabolism as well as our energy. A lot of times I find clients who are really struggling with fatigue and they're really just not getting enough protein in their diet. Once we add that back in, their energy levels go up, they can think a little bit better and a little bit clearer, and then they start to feel like a new person again. What many people also don't realize is that by adding protein to your meal and having a well-balanced meal and eating the protein first, it can also help to reduce or prevent spikes in your glucose or your blood sugar levels. This is really important for those who are struggling with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. Finding ways to combine not only a well-balanced diet, but also the timing and when you eat those foods is really important, and protein can really help with this. All right, our salmon is done marinating, so let's get it out of the fridge and into the air fryer. So I'm gonna put the air fryer on 360. I'm also gonna use this little pan attachment in there. One of the reasons I love using the air fryer for this meal is because it's quick, it's easy. I don't have to get the whole house smelling like salmon, and I don't have to clean the oven afterwards. We're just gonna pop it into the air fryer skin side down, and we're pretty much gonna forget about it. Now, don't throw away the rest of that marinade because we can use that to help stir fry our veggies. As that's finishing up, I wanted to share one more reason why protein is so important. Now, as we age, we tend to lose muscle mass, and one of the most important predictors of longevity and brain function as we age is the amount of muscle mass that you maintain. And of course, you already know that protein and getting adequate and enough protein is really important to making sure that you maintain a healthy muscle mass. Of course, you need to add in some resistance training along the way. Now, there are quite a few opinions about what is appropriate or what is adequate protein intake. The RDA guidelines are 0.8 grams per kilogram of weight. However, more studies are showing that increasing that number a little bit to around 1.1 to 1.6 grams per kilogram is probably a better number. And if you're doing more resistance training or trying to prevent age-related muscle loss, then you probably want to increase that to that higher end of the range. Studies have generally shown not a lot of benefit once you pass the 2 gram per kilogram mark, unless you have some really sort of specific goal that you're working towards. Just to recap on why protein is so important, it is a building block for our muscle as well as for our brain health. It helps us to maintain a healthy weight, it helps us feel full, it can help with our blood glucose levels, and it also increases our longevity and our quality of life as we continue to age. Now, before we go, let's take a look at our recipe, but I hope that this video was helpful. If you learned something, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It does help other people find this content and this channel. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and that notification bell so that you can know when I post a new video next week. And I'm also gonna have a quick stir fry veggie to have on the side, and here I just have some fresh broccoli rabe. So we're just gonna quickly stir fry that. I have a bit of avocado oil that I'm gonna use. Just use a high temperature oil, and then I will use a little bit of the marinade from the fish. So we're just gonna add all the broccoli. We've added some avocado oil, and you just want to move that. If you don't want to use the marinade from the fish, you could use something like a little bit of broth as well. That is ripping hot. And with this, you don't want to cook it for too long because you don't want to kill your veggies, but just a quick stir fry on high heat, and those are pretty much done. So let's go ahead and plate everything up. All right, our salmon is done. Let's taste it. So tender, so juicy on the inside and perfectly cooked. And we'll have a little bit of that broccoli rabe. And there you go. A lesson on the importance of protein along with a high protein meal for you. All right, I hope that this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Oh my God, so good. Oh, so good.